Good morning, everybody. Oh, let's move this mic a little bit closer. What's going on, y'all? For those of you who don't know me, that might be coming across this stream that has been reshared or replayed. My name is Tremaine Wills. I am a financial planner and investment advisor. I own a company called Mind Over Money, where we help create comprehensive financial plans, give investment advice, teach and promote financial literacy, and do our part to help close the wealth gap. And so, today's topic, we're going to be talking about how to create a retirement plan so that we have a target of where we're trying to go after in regard to our finances. So, if that is something that is of interest to you, stick around, and I'll be walking through those steps. So I want to give a few statistics around retirement and kind of make this real for folks, because I think especially millennials and younger, we kind of take this idea of planning for retirement for granted because we feel young and we feel like we have forever to get to it, right? And so we don't really take this serious. And so, of course, I was doing some research on this just to see like how many people have retirement accounts and what is the data telling us about our ability to be able to retire. And so when I was checking, the data was saying that 50% of Americans have no retirement savings. And that is so scary to think about, right? Now, if you are watching this and you don't have any retirement savings, that's not to say you are doomed, right? But that is to say it's probably time to take it seriously, right? It's probably time to check in with what you want your goals to be and start to plan for what's going to happen when you stop working. How will you bring in income, and will Social Security be enough, right? So let's get to this. The process that I take my clients through when we are creating a retirement plan, um, I use a strategy called the rich roadmap, and rich is an acronym. It is the 4 steps that we use to create a custom strategy that truly aligns with what you want for retirement, and not only retirement, but what you want your money to do for you, right? And so what this does, it helps give people clarity around how their money should be moving, how they can make better financial decisions, and kind of block out the noise of all the options that are available. So rich, right? That's the acronym. The R stands for reimagine. So a lot of us have this tunnel vision of I'm going to do what I got to do to get through this moment, right? I'm working to pay bills, and that's really all I'm thinking about, right? And so when we're in this first stage where we're reimagining what we want our lives to look like, what we want our future to look like, this is where you take some time to just think and sit, right? What would everything look like if my money lined up the way that I wanted to? Who would I be around? What are the activities that we would do? How would I spend my time now that I don't have to trade time for money anymore? Right. And so this part is critical because it's going to help you align your values with whatever plan we put in place, right? Because I can tell you, you should put X amount of dollars here and X amount of dollars there. But the reality is, if your financial plan isn't in alignment with what you actually want, then one, you're not really going to want to follow it because it's not something you actually want. And then two, you're going to get to retirement and be confined to whatever this document says, and you're not going to be happy with it. So if we can create a strategy based around what you actually desire, it's going to motivate you to really stick to it, and then um help you see things come into fruition as you start to follow the strategy. So this first phase is really, really important because you really get to see, okay, what is it that I actually want? You spend some time just thinking, you know, if my money was moving the way that I needed it to, what would this look like? So that's the R. Then the next letter in the acronym is I. And so the I is for identifying what are your priorities, right? So if you are a big dreamer, right, you might have lots of things that you have reimagined for your future. And so now we're going to take the time to figure out what is most important and what are the non-negotiables. So for example, if you went through this process where you're like, okay, I really want to be able to take my family on annual vacations, and I want to be able to take them abroad, and I want to be able to help pay down mortgages so people don't have to think about it, right? There's so many different things you want to accomplish. But now when we get to the I and we're identifying, well, what are the priorities? What are the things that you want to make sure you take care of first? So priorities could be, okay, first, let's lock in and make sure you have enough money to cover your living expenses so that you don't have to go back to work, right? So that could be the first priority. The next priority could be, okay, then I want to make sure that maybe children are taken care of, grandchildren are taken care of in regards to what happens to you if you pass away, right? So this is where we give some ranking to the things that you want to accomplish. So that way there's an order of what is most important, what you're going to go after. All right. So that's the I, identifying what are your top priorities. Then the C is for create. Now, this is where we actually get to the structure of how you're going to make the machine go, right? What are the accounts that you need to have in place? What are the targets that you need to go after as far as investment returns? What are the insurances that you need to have in place? How are we going to do the tax planning? What accounts are the money going to come out of, and how will it be taxed, right? And that is the math part of creating the plan, right? And all of that is great, but it should be predicated on the priorities that you have, the things that you want to accomplish. And so a lot of times we want to skip to, hey, give me the plan, give me the numbers, tell me what my return on investment should be. But we haven't done the work to figure out, okay, what are you actually trying to accomplish? What are the things that are important to you? What is it that you're actually trying to achieve? So that's the C, where we get to creating the structure and how all the money's going to move. And then the last part, this is the H. And H means honor the commitment. So this is probably the hardest part for a lot of people, right? Where we put the strategy in place and then you know exactly what you're supposed to do, but then life starts lifing, right? Then things start to happen and we find every excuse, obstacle, reason not to stick with the plan. And so honoring the commitment is your way of making sure you have the discipline and the wherewithal to keep going, right? Even when you come against roadblocks, even when you don't feel like following the plan, right? But that discipline and sticking to it is what's going to get you the freedom that we've been planning for. So that is the structure of how you can create your retirement plan. And when we're talking about like the details of the types of accounts, right? What accounts you should have in place. And so that's going to be predicated on when you want to retire, right? What types of assets you have access to. And so for many of us, right, we might have a employer sponsored plan at work. And so that's going to be one of the accounts that you use. Now, how much money you put into it, if you're maxing it out, if you're going to use the Roth feature, the percentage of returns that you need to get inside of this account, all of that is going to be predicated on how much money you need and how soon you're trying to come out of that workplace, right? So the details of all of that stuff really are determined by you, the individual. So what I would encourage you to do is, if you're not already working with a financial planner, even for yourself, kind of just sit down and say, okay, what assets do I have available to me? What accounts do I have in place? Do I have a 401k at work? Maybe I'm a teacher and I have a 403b. Maybe you have a brokerage account, something you opened up on Robinhood. Like, what assets do you have? And if I keep going the way that I'm going, how is this going to look when I decide I'm ready to retire? Am I going to be able to retire? Have you gone onto the Social Security website to see what your projected income is going to be? Right. And so all of these are preliminary things that you can do to start to see, okay, what could this look like? And do I have to wait until full retirement age in order to stop working? Okay. So it can be a scary thing to try to tackle and to try to dive into to see what the numbers are. But once you get to a place where you know exactly what needs to be accomplished, you know how much money you're going to be putting in every single account every month, you know what type of return you should be aiming for. And so at the end of the year, you can check to see, okay, are we on schedule? Do I need to invest a little bit more aggressively? Are there some additional things that we need to work on? All of that is going to become so much more clearer to you so that you can make financial decisions easier. Okay. So I love financial planning. I love retirement planning because it helps give us clarity. It helps eliminate so much of the confusion and the shiny object syndrome that comes with this space because there's so many different ways to make money and there's so many things that you can do with your money. But once you have a plan in place, a desired outcome that you're trying to achieve, now you can look at all the options that are available and see what fits into the strategy. And if it doesn't fit, it's an easy way to say, no, this isn't for me. And you can take the emotion out of some of this decision making, right? It doesn't have to be something that's so overwhelming and just insurmountable because there's too many options. Having the clarity of what your goals are and knowing exactly what you need is going to help eliminate so much confusion. So I hope that that was helpful. To help you figure out, okay, how can I create this retirement plan? All right. So now, what are going to be your next steps? I touched on it really briefly, but what I want you to do is sit down and see, take inventory. What accounts do you have? How are they performing? How much are you putting into those accounts? When you get to full retirement age, how much money is going to be there? Is that enough? Okay. So I want you to just sit down and see, okay, what is in front of me? And if it's looking like, okay, there's not going to be enough money here, consult a financial planner, consult somebody that is going to be able to help guide you and tell you how you can fill in those gaps. Okay. Sometimes we think that financial planning is only for people who are already wealthy, and that is not true, right? Financial planners are able to help navigate and put the pieces together to help you figure out, well, what is missing and how do I use my assets? How do I use my money to put me in a position where, okay, this is super clear. Now I understand why I have to put X amount of dollars into my 401k. I understand why I'm going to choose a traditional individual retirement account over a Roth IRA or choose a Roth over an individual, right? They're going to help you determine based on your goals and how you need your money to move, what are the best vehicles for you so that you can get it done and get it done efficiently, right? Sometimes we just don't know all the tax advantaged accounts that are available to us, and we might be missing out on opportunities to do things efficiently and also pay less in taxes. So a good financial planner is going to help you map out all of these things and pair that with what you actually want to accomplish with your finances, how you want to design your life, right? I like to think of it as an opportunity to play Tetris with the assets that you have to create whatever lifestyle you want to live, right? Now, of course, there might be tough conversations that are like, hey, if you want to accomplish this, you might have to sacrifice this, or you might have to figure out how to make more money in this area, right? But the clarity of knowing that, one, what you want is possible, and then two, what are the exact things you have to do in order to achieve it, that is so empowering. All right. So this has been our conversation on how to create a financial plan, how to build a retirement plan. And if you are just getting started on this journey and you don't have a retirement plan in place, I have a one-page checklist that'll help you identify what are some of the things that you need to do to get started. So below this video, there is a link where you can click that and download the basics bundle to get access to that for free. There's some other goodies that are in that bundle, but for you watching, if you don't have a clear understanding of what needs to happen for retirement so that you can retire comfortably and get excited about it, I would leverage that checklist so that you can start to move forward. All right. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to share it with a friend so that we can get comfortable about retirement and not feel like it's some faraway thing that is hanging over our head and something that we can't attain. All right, everybody, have a great day.